Hi, this is Kylie from Thrive Web Design, and in this video, we're going to go through how to crop, resize, and compress images for uploading on your website. Now, the website that we're using to do this is called photopea.com. So that's photopea.com, and it's similar to Photoshop. So, first off, we start at this dashboard where we want to open a file from our computer. And now there's usually two situations that you'll come across when you need to resize and compress your images before uploading them to the website. So the first situation is very straightforward. It's where the image dimensions are already the same as what's required for the space on your website. So that's your length and width of the image. And the second situation is where we need to change the shape. So we might be going from a rectangular image like this to a square or to a slightly smaller rectangle. In which case the second is a little more complex, but they're still fairly straightforward. So the first one, we've got a really large image. And what we need to do is we open our image, and because we're using the same size, we go to File and Export As. And if it's a photograph, we export as JPEG. If it's a graphic with far less colors, so something that's illustrated with a smaller range of colors, we can use a PNG, but often a JPEG will be fine for that as well. So export as JPEG. This will then pop up this little Save for Web overlay. Now we can see that this image is set to, the size of it is 1900 by 1267 pixels. So now we're setting the export settings. So for example, if the image dimensions need to be a maximum of 1000 wide, we type in 1000 for the width, and it'll automatically resize the height because it's locked to keep the scaling the same. Now, the quality is one area we do need to take into consideration. So we can see the file size down here. So at 100% quality, that's 625 kilobytes, which is very large for an image on the web. So we want to get that file size down. Now we can slide that slider, and it's showing us what our quality percentage is, and we can see the corresponding changes to the kilobytes. Ideally, you want to keep all images on the website under 300 kilobytes, but the 300 is the uppermost range, and that generally applies to larger background images that might be 1900 pixels wide, for example. The more intricate details you've got in an image, the larger the file size will be because it's storing a much larger amount of data. So plain images with big blocks of color and things like that will always be smaller because there's less data. For an image this size, so 1000 pixels, 63 is looking okay. Now, what the quality does is it actually compresses the image, so it can change the quality of that image as well. So for now, I'll save that, and then we'll have a look at it. And this is the downloaded image. We can see that the compression's okay. That's not going to look too pixelated or look bad on our website, so that is suitable. I'm just going to close this and open a new image. So open from computer for our next example. So we'll open the empty office, the smiling people and computers. We can see that that image is 4.4 megabytes. So we'll open this one, which might take a moment because it's a large file. Now we've got a square space to fill on our website, so we need to change the image shape, and we do that by clicking on the crop tool on the left. So hovering over these tools will show you what they do. So we click the crop. Now it's popped up an overlay here, but we've got the option to change those dimensions. So if we click in here, we can see it's free, which means we can drag the borders, those little boxes, the handles, to whatever size we like to suit and crop that image. Fixed ratio, so a 1:1 is going to be a square. A 6:4, for example, is going to be the standard shape of a photograph. And then if you want to use the fixed ratio, you can just drag the handles in and it'll keep that the same dimensions. The next one is a fixed size. So this one is generally what we will use. So once you've got the pixel length and width for the image you need to put on the website, so you can get that from your website, and I've got a separate tutorial to show you how to find the dimensions for an image. It'll pop your little guided crop tool over the image, and then you can drag and drop it. If you've accidentally done it the incorrect way, we can click these little arrows in the middle and that'll switch the length and width to the opposite side. If we need that to be a square, we can just change that second one to also be 1400, and then we can drag our little crop handles in so that we can get our square image. And then you can drag the image around, the crop tool around, to get the right placement and make it look good. And then once you're happy with it, you can just hit enter. And then from there, we go through the export process again. So file, export as, JPEG, and we can see that our dimensions are what we set it to be. So 1400 by 1400 pixels. The quality we're currently at is 78%, and we can see that's an image of 217 kilobytes. So ideally, we'd like to get that a little bit smaller without losing too much resolution there. So if we go down to 60, that's taking us down to 132 kilobytes, which is quite reasonable. And then we can save that one. And then we open that one up again. It's opened up. Okay, so we'll make sure we're looking at it at actual size. Whoops. And we can scroll around. It's looking a little bit pixelated, so what you would do in that case would be to undo, and then using our crop tool, we might try that again. So we recreate that little crop on the screen, and then we export it as JPEG once again, which it's not popping up. Hang on. Export as JPEG. We've got our little tools there, so we might need to increase that quality just a smidge, and save, and then we can try reviewing that one again. And we'll just change that to actual size, and we can see that that's less pixelated than the previous one, so that one would be suitable to use on the website. So it's important to make sure that you're shrinking the dimensions of an image, so the length and width of that image down. If you're using images that are straight out of your camera or a phone, for example, they can be, 3,000 to 5,000 on each edge. So that is far too big. And they can also be, anywhere from 3 to 15 megabytes or even larger for some cameras. And the reason we need to do both of those things is to make sure that they fit well on your website, and they're not too slow to load, because what happens is there's two issues with it. The first is that images that are slow loading can slow down the whole page, which will cause your visitors to jump off the page if it's not loading. It's just taking too long. And the second reason is that Google looks at how quickly your page loads when it comes to placing your website in the search rankings, and slow loading pages can really impact that. I'll do a separate video on how to find those images in your WordPress website and work out what dimensions and file sizes you need. Okay, cheers, bye.